It's your girl LadyT, and welcome to another amazing episode of LadyT Let's Talk About It. For those who don't know, LadyT Let's Talk About It is an online broadcast that aims to discuss any and everything, but especially taboo topics, from the millennial perspective. Today, in honor of September being Suicide Awareness Month, we are discussing mental health amongst millennials. Here to join me are my amazing panelists. Please introduce yourself, your age, and one thing that brings you joy.
So my name is DJ. I'm 25 years old, and one thing that brings me joy would be good music.
Okay, good music.
My name is Dijon. I'm 10 years older than DJ. And one thing that brings me joy is my bed.
Okay. So to the ladies. Oh, you want me to introduce myself? What brings me joy?
My name's Naomi. I'm 21, and my family brings me joy.
My name is Brianna. I'm 23, and I would say plants and music bring me joy.
Okay, good stuff. So, thank you all for joining me. Before jumping in, I wanted to orient us all around some statistics regarding mental health. Did you know that almost half of adults in the U.S. will experience mental health during their lifetime? And it sped through the rest of the statistics, so we're just going to look right here. Humble beginnings, y'all. Humble beginnings. 1 in 5 adults in 2018 reported dealing with mental illness. Also, suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst people ages 10 to 34 in the United States. 75% of people who die from suicides are male, and also approximately 20% or higher of each minority group in the U.S. is suffering from mental illnesses, including a higher incidence in the LGBTQ community. So this is not a scarce issue. It's extremely important to me to bring awareness to this issue, so we're going to discuss it. Let's all agree, I think we can, that even though this is live, the comment section and also the LadyT Let's Talk About It panel is a safe space. So definitely engage with us in this conversation so that somebody else knows that they're not alone. Okay? So without further ado, I'm LadyT. Let's talk about it. The first thing I wanted to do is a exercise. So for my panelists, in the last month, or raise your hand, in the last month, who has felt anxious? In the last month, who has eaten more than they should have? Okay. In the last month, who has felt especially down for a considerable length of time? Okay. In the last month, who has felt excessively worried about things in your control? And lastly, in the last month, who has felt excessively worried about things out of your control? So, the first takeaway, I think, for the viewers is, and even the panelists, is through all of these things and your feelings, we're still here. And you just never know who's going through what, who would raise their hand to what. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. So my first question for the panelists, who knows the difference between mental health and mental illness? Okay. You don't have to raise your hand. We're doing that.
You want me to explain it?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead and explain it.
So the difference between mental health and mental illness is that mental health is an everyday, ongoing basis. Just how you take care of yourself, just like physical health. Did you eat? Are you healthy? Are you dehydrated? Anything like that. Mental health is the same thing. So are you happy? That's a part of your mental health. Are you sad? That's a part of your mental health. Mental illness goes into things that control how your health is. So like bipolar depression or severe anxiety disorder. Those are the things that can be a part of mental illness. But mental health, everybody has it. It's good and bad.
That was like legit what was on here. So that was absolutely right. So let's throw out different mental illnesses just to show that it comes in many different forms. So it could be OCD, eating disorders, social anxiety, rage, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, etc. So those are different mental illnesses. So for my panelists, can you tell a little bit about your struggle with mental health or illness?
I guess I'll go. I think one thing I struggle with most is being anxious, especially about things that I can't control. So, like, I don't know. I don't want to give a whole background of my life, but I had a little issue with figuring out what I wanted to do in school. I'm still, like, going back and forth with things, and I feel like I can't control what's going to be best for me. I just have to, like, let go and just experience life and not get so hung up on what could be or what couldn't be. So that's one thing I struggle with most right now.
For the whole panel, can we agree that things out of your control give us anxiety?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay. Everybody is on the same accord about that. I think, kind of like Naomi, the things that I can't control. For me, I know it's more so dealing with people. So people give me anxiety because I feel like they're wild cards. Like we know how we're gonna react. We know how, like, what upsets us, what, you know, does stuff to us, but other people's reactions and however they're gonna act, you know, because you have one decision that can change a whole situation. So I think that would be of what I deal with.
I know for me, myself, my biggest issue is just to maintain mental health because I find times where I do more work than recuperation from work. And when I say recoup, basically taking time for yourself, mental breaks, whether it be something that pleases me, watching movies, listening to music, having conversations, going for a run. I don't do that as much as I should, and sometimes that affects me as far as doing day-to-day acts where I get anxious, get anxiety, sometimes get down if something doesn't work out. So I'd say, yeah, maintaining mental health is something that I struggle with.
So do you think, and this is for all the panelists, do you think that it's important for men to take those self-care days and stuff as well?
I'd say, yeah, because if you are ingrained with that work hard, you know, grind mentality, if you push yourself, and provide, if you push yourself too much, you're not going to be able to do that. All right. In order to focus, you got to take time for yourself. All right.
Yeah, another thing I think is important is like talking and opening up, because a lot of men don't want to admit that there's like a shortcoming that they have mentally, or talk about how they feel. So I feel like it's important for men especially, to speak up, talk to somebody, tell them how they feel, so that, you know, it takes a little bit of weight off you.
Absolutely. And I think I can speak for the ladies. I feel like we do a lot more talking, right? So whether it's venting, it's talking, it's ranting on social media, we do it. But what does talking about it look like for guys? Like, what is the most comfortable way you think would be as a male to talk about this kind of stuff? Because I feel like in you guys' world, it's not as easy. It doesn't come as easy, right? So what do you think talking about it looks like for you guys?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like when I talk, it's normally because someone else is talking to me, and I'm talking from a place of experience where I can say, hey, I've been.
So you
through
do more
something
engaging.
similar. Yeah. I don't know whether I've like had a conversation with anybody other than a therapist about how I feel about myself or the things that are going on, unless I'm having a conversation with somebody about what's going on in their life and I'm giving them a different perspective.
Yeah. And sometimes the conversations aren't long. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth, whether it be I'm listening to somebody with some type of encouragement, or I need somebody to talk to myself. It's like, can I trust you? What are you gonna think? It's like this double dutch, you know? And then once we finally start talking, it's like, I'm gonna give you this little bit, let me see how you react to that. All All right, then I can open up a little bit more. Let me see how you react to that. All right, then I can open up even more. So, but it's different for guys because sometimes we're just isolated, you know,
Okay.
in our own thoughts. Sorry.
Okay. So for the panel, when did you or how did you realize you were dealing with mental health issues?
I think for me, I've had the signs my entire life, but I didn't realize exactly what it was until I was in college. So growing up, I was very sensitive. As soon as my parents say like something as small as go wash the dishes, I would start crying. I would have bad dreams. A friend could say anything, I would start crying. I didn't realize until I got to college where we talked about it more and I actually went to a therapist that I do have severe anxiety disorder. I have social anxiety. People, just like Tan said, people make me extremely nervous. Like if I'm walking down the street, I think the worst thing possible. So you will literally see me like whispering Jesus, Jesus, Jesus over and over again. Or in my headphones, I will have something that says like you are protected over and over again. But to the outside, nobody knows that. And then I also realized that in social settings, I have OCD. But then when I'm on the inside in my own home, it's like chaos. Completely. Like, complete chaos. It's two totally different people. So I think I had the signs growing up, but because we weren't as educated about it, I didn't know until I talked to someone in college and I'm like, why do I feel like I'm a failure when I have a 3.0 GPA? Why do I feel like I'm a failure when I graduated, I like have my own house, I have a full-time job? Why do I feel like a failure when I'm taking care of myself? And that's just severe anxiety. And so if you don't talk about it, especially to someone that knows what it is, then you won't really know what it is.
So that educated part. Okay. Anybody else? How did you first realize that you needed help? I'll say that. So not necessarily an issue, but how did you know you may needed help or needed to talk or felt this heavy feeling?
I'd say for me, it was like mentally, I just felt trapped. I felt stuck. I couldn't think as far as what is the best, move from here, from point A to point B, to basically get out of what mental state I'm in right now. So I'd say that was my sign. I just felt stuck, and nothing started making sense. So.
Okay.
For me, it was when someone said that it was okay. Like, I feel like, I'm gonna bring race into it, but I feel like a lot of black people don't talk about mental health and don't say, hey, let me go see a therapist, let me go see a psychiatrist. We're like, oh, we'll fix this ourselves. We'll talk to whoever we'll talk to. But I was talking to someone asking him how he had his life together, and he was like, therapy. I'm like, you go to therapy? Like, what? You're not supposed to go to therapy, and had a conversation about it, and those kind of things are okay. And before that, I'm like, this is not what we do. I'm not gonna go to therapy. Yeah. And when somebody else said, this is what I do, this is why I'm in this place, it made it okay for me. And I'm like, okay, well, let me try this. Let me see.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I definitely think the therapy route, can, especially for men, can be helpful because just like you were saying, DJ, that double dutch of who's gonna judge me, can I trust, who's gonna tell my business, who's gonna hold this against me later. With the therapist, that's their job, you know what I mean? And it's an outside perspective, and instead of somebody necessarily, diagnosing you, or, because I know a lot of people I've talked to get worried about being like diagnosed with something, put on medicine for whatever, being called crazy and stuff. But in actuality, it can just be a conversation, like thinking things through with a third party, right? So definitely a good avenue to be able to release that stuff so you're not feeling trapped. So do you think mental health or mental illness is worn? What does that look like? Do you think it looks like any specific thing?
No, it's literally anything that you can think of, because there's people, and it's usually the people that have been going through it for a long time, look like everything is perfect. Just like I said, like we have full-time jobs, we have our own house, we have everything in front of us, but on the inside, that's when you know that something's wrong. And I think that's where the stigma comes into it. Because then when we speak out and say that we have a problem, they're like, why do you have a problem? You have everything. Why do you, like, what's going on? And that's when it's hard for you to talk. So it can look, so sometimes I say with myself, I have 2 different times when I have my anxiety disorder. I have a point in time where everything is perfect, I look perfectly fine. And then I have a point in time where I'm in my house, I don't want to eat, I just want to lay down. So it usually, for me, it differs. So I say for everybody, it's, you never know what it looks like.
I agree with Brianna. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and I was like, why do I have a reason to even feel like this? Like, I have a loving family, I have loving friends. Like, my life is, like, I don't want to sound, but my life is great. Like, why do I feel like everything is attacking me at once? Like, why am I so anxious 24/7? And I feel like a lot of people, especially younger kids, because I'm only 21, like, I've only been through so much. But it's hard to want to talk to somebody because they've been through more than you. So you're like, I don't want to feel like my issues don't compare to somebody else, if that makes sense. And I think that's what I struggle with most. So being able to talk to somebody is kind of like weird for me. Like, I don't know how to relate to somebody else.
Yeah. And I think that's, the talking portion is big, and knowing that everybody, it's relative, right? So something could get me completely different that it may affect Dejan, or that may affect, Naomi. And I was, me and a couple of my friends were actually sitting and talking about life. And you know what I mean? And it's like, I had an issue, and it was with a person that, I was distraught about, or, I was crying about, and then we it's kind of like we tagged each other in, and then my other friend told about what she was going through and what was getting her, and we were all feeling that same feeling, but about different things.
Yeah.
And it, just like you guys said, it doesn't look like anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's even harder when you do have this persona, right? So I know I've had conversations with some of my coworkers, and they're like, "Oh, you're upbeat. What's wrong?" Like, as soon as I'm not on 100, they're like, "What's wrong?" And little do they know, I am one Tangy, are you okay away from like busting out in tears. Like, literally. Like, I have been on an hour break and cried to my mother all break, wiped my face, went back into work, and they would never know that I was sitting here having a whole anxiety attack outside of work. You know what I mean? And I think that goes into you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah. Because I've caught myself from being like sad to crying to being enraged and angry, to feeling like I want to be alone by myself. But then also, once I would have company, not wanting that company to leave because I was scared to be alone. So it's like, it's weird how it just jumped back.
It's a weird space to be in.
I don't want to say it's weird, okay?
No, not weird, but
I think it's weird, yeah.
Sometimes it can be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because I don't want nobody to feel weird that they might be going through it. That's what,
Because I know I've told my mom, and the best way I could have articulated it, and it was of recent that I was able to articulate to her and one of my other best friends, like, for me, like, when I get through all that, it's so much going on, right? And sometimes I just want to step, like, out of a movie. I want to step outside of myself while myself goes through all of this, and then step back in when I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, you be exhausted.
Yeah, where's the fast forward button?
Right, like,
where will we speed this up?
I think, I don't know, let me know if I'm wrong, but that feeling of wanting to be in that good space, and just like you said, fast forwarding to that good space, it can be exhausting, So, do you think you have mental health struggles, or do you think our generation doesn't know how to manage life?
It's a mixture of both for me. Our generation has gotten, not all of it, but some of it, it's kind of like a fad now. So you have to really talk to the generation coming up, talk to them about what's going on, because some of it is like very real. They're really going through things, and you really have to talk to them because we've been through it, so we need to let them know that they are okay. And then some of them, when you talk to them, it's like they're just doing it because their friends are doing it. So I really think it's a mixture of both, and it doesn't scare me, but I want to talk to them more because I know what I went through. So it's just like now that it's more open, you really have to have that conversation because you have to figure out if they're really going through something or if they're just thinking just because everybody else is going through something.
Okay.
That's a tough question.
I feel like all of our choices have a big effect on how we are mentally. So, I mean, whether we manage life in a way that's super productive or whether we manage it in a way that's not, regardless, people are going to have struggles. So, I feel like it's not necessarily how you manage your life or how well you're doing. I think it's more about what's going on inside of your head. Because again, people can look like you have it all together, but on the inside there is a battle going on, and a lot of that has nothing to do with a decision that you made or like what's going on in your life. That's just stuff that goes on inside of your head. So separate them a little bit.
And you actually said something. So you said it's like a battle in your head, right? And my question to all of you guys, and even to the viewers, what's your war tool? So you're in a battle in your head. What is your war tool? How do you get through in that moment?
Honestly, like, there's a couple things I know. I would always keep my radio onto the gospel station, like literally 24/7. So when it wouldn't be loud, it would be quiet, soft music. But like at moments when I was starting to really feel symptoms of what I was going through, something on the radio would definitely touch me and calm me down, let me think everything's okay. And then also just prayer, because it was a way for me to really understand and see how God will provide you with what you need. So the moments where I needed somebody to talk to, needed a friend, it was like somebody would pop up. And not only that, they would have basically struggled what I was going through. So it was some like reassurance and whatnot.
So question for you, why gospel?
Why gospel? Because there's a lot of power. I'm gonna say it like this: within the Bible, whether you might believe or not, there are definitely some type of psychological principles within it. You know, when people say "hold on," when people say "they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength," within that you find hope. You also find the sense of optimism. All right, so with hearing that, it's like, okay, it gives me that opportunity. It gives me that reassurance that my life still has a purpose, as opposed to necessarily, I'm just going through this just because I'm going through this. If that makes sense for me. So.
Okay. Dejan, what's your war tool?
War tool is classical music and writing in my notes, writing the thoughts down, because if I write down how I feel when I'm going through it, then I can look back and say, hey, what caused me to feel this way? So I can like go back and try to fix or whatever the issue was. And this year I got a weighted blanket for my birthday.
The best thing in
And
the world.
the weighted blanket helps so much with anxiety. So
Can you get out of bed? Like, I feel like I'd be too sleep.
It's like a heavy blanket,
it's a
literally.
25-pound blanket.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you put it on you and it literally
Right.
feels like somebody's like just giving you a hug.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they had those.
So that's one of your war tools. Your weighted
Right.
blanket. Okay.
Weighted blanket.
So for you as well, why classical music?
Pretty cool.
Because classical music, I think my mom taught me that when I was younger, to listen to classical music when I'm doing like homework or something, and it kind of clears my mind. So you know how when you're doing something and you could be like right now, you could be thinking about whatever else that you're thinking about that has nothing to do with this. When I listen to classical music, all those secondary thoughts are gone. And whatever I'm working on, I can just focus on what that is. And I don't know why classical music helps me. Maybe my mom just ingrained that in my head when I was little, and now I believe it. So that's just one of those things. Like everything is gone when I'm listening to classical music, and I can just focus on whatever it is.
Okay.
Half the time at work, that's what's going on in my head.
Okay, I think for me, my war tool would have to be LadyT. Let's talk about it. To be able to not only share my experiences, but to have open discussions with everybody. I feel like open discussions can not only help clear your mind, could bring other perspectives to a situation, and I feel like it teaches me how to trust somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, just like DJ was saying, you can give a little and see what they do with it. People are human. People are faulty and stuff. But my word will be LadyT. Let's talk about it. That's one of them. You better know your time.
If I'm being like completely honest, I don't think I've found my war tool yet. I know sometimes when I get a little down, I'll go to my notes and write, or I'll call my mom and just like try and talk it out, try and find a way to get through it. But I haven't found anything that really works for me yet, so I'm still in the process.
I think that's big as well, though, to know where you are with it. You know.
Yeah.
My war tool I have when I'm in like an anxiety moment, I have two very specific songs. I have one, Come Out of Hiding by Bethel Church Music, and because that song was basically written about anxiety and depression and God saying, come out of hiding, you're safe here with me. So that's one song. And then my second song is Janae Aiko, Trigger Protection Mantra. And it's basically just calming music the whole time, and the entire time she's just singing, you are protected, calm down your energy. So I have two very specific songs that I listen to.
Okay. Do you think war tools are important when you are going through that space or that spell?
Most definitely, because honestly, it is a fight for your mental state, for your peace. You know, nobody wants to just get hit and take the blows. Eventually, it's your choice whether you want to fight back. But at the same time, it's not an easy fight, if that makes sense, because you're fighting against yourself in a sense. You turn your how do I say this? You encourage yourself, but at the same time, you turn into your own worst critic. So,
Listen, it's important. Really quick comment check. Amina Jones said, thank you all for being brave and sharing your stories. Do you have someone, professional or not, that you can talk to that will be unbiased, blame-free, or judgment-free?
Yeah.
Yeah?
yeah.
I feel pretty good about that? Okay. And, second part, if your friends need help, what advice do you give them as far as who to talk to?
I've told some people, so at work, because if you have health insurance where I work at, you can actually talk to a therapist on FaceTime. So
For real?
you don't have to go to a place. Dead serious. You can talk to a doctor or a therapist.
What's
on
that FaceTime?
You
guys have
you can tell what I have for it.
Sorry, I said Siri. You did.
Wow, I'm sorry.
Siri wanted to be involved in this conversation. So open discussions with everybody.
Therapist was just getting ready to call me right. But yeah, you can do that on your phone, so you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to leave your house, and that's just a really cool tool that you can use if you're going through that. So one of the things that I tell people is, hey, please talk to somebody. If you can't talk to me, and you can use. If you have insurance, you can talk to somebody on FaceTime. You don't have to leave your house.
You'll be surprised how much it feels good just talking. Honestly, like you're not gonna necessarily go in and get a prescription. Not all the time. Just talking. There's a lot of power in just getting it all out. Honestly.
Absolutely. What was your biggest fear when thinking about your mental health? What stigma plagued you?
I think my biggest fear was letting my parents down. So I think that's a part of my anxiety. I always felt like I did stuff growing up. So I always thought I was the problem child, but now talking to my parents about it, they was like, you was bad, but you wasn't that bad. So it's like, it's letting my parents down. And then I thought I don't want their friends or the people around them to think that they didn't raise me well, when that's completely the total opposite. How they raised me has nothing to do with my anxiety. like I feel like they raised me well because I have everything, like I'm taking care of everything, but my anxiety and what I'm going through is a complete, like it's its own entity than what they are. So I think that was a stigma that kind of messed me up. And when I realized that I'm not their problem child, like it's not letting them down, that's what kind of helped me about it.
Medicine. When I was in college, we did these little study things where we would go and we would take like a pill that had just been approved by the FDA, but they wanted to know like how fast the medicine would get through the system of food. And we took an antipsychotic pill one time, and it was the worst that I've ever felt. And I was like, if I ever have to go somewhere and they prescribe me some medicine, I don't ever want to feel like this. So I can't go and talk to anybody because they're gonna say I'm crazy and they're gonna give me some medicine and I'm gonna feel like this, so I can't go do it. So that was one of the things that like pushed me, like I can't. And then like I said later on, I got a little bit of guidance from medicine and stuff that
Okay.
scared me. But
Naomi, did you or do you have a biggest fear about your mental health?
I think we touched on it earlier, talking to therapists or something. That doesn't, like it didn't settle with me at first, like thinking about it, like maybe I should talk to a therapist, maybe there is a deeper, like, issue behind everything. And what he said, medicine, like I don't want to have to go to a therapist and then they prescribe me something because I don't want to have to depend on it. Because in my mind, it's like I can fix it myself. Like I'm still going through it. Like I'm still young. Maybe it's just a phase. I think that's my biggest issue with it.
Okay. And I think even with, while we're talking about being on medicine, for some people that is the best option
Yeah.
as well. Because sometimes you do need, that extra help. You know what I mean? Some people have chemical imbalances. Some people, just need that extra step. So medicine, the fact that there's somebody out there making medicine for this battle that we're all trying to fight, I think is super cool as well. DJ, do you have the biggest fear about your mental health?
Yeah, mine was definitely, or is definitely going back or receding as far as making more progress, or then also just with jobs and stuff, if the job is like, oh no, we can't because we're scared that you wouldn't be able to maintain this workload. So it's like, no, I can maintain the workload. I just need to make sure that I'm taking the right steps to take care of myself.
Okay. I think mine would be the fear of kind of not getting through that moment, if that makes sense. So kind of like what you were saying, backsliding. So if I know that people are, my triggers, people ain't going nowhere. So if I get to this situation, how will I handle it? And I think my lack of not handling life, like I don't want it to be a lack of not handling life is my biggest fear. Because just knowing that there's an end, it's gonna be good for me. Quick comment check. Jerica said, one second guys, gotta refresh. Jerica said her biggest fear was that she would have a mental breakdown. LOL, funny but not funny. I'm so serious. I went and got the extra help because I felt myself on edge or of literally losing it. So have you guys ever felt like you were on edge?
Yeah, it's real.
So what does your on edge look like?
My on edge is, I think the first time I really had a mental breakdown was my senior year at college. I had this group of friends that I was always with. They were always at my house. But when I hit that mental breakdown, my on edge was literally locking myself in the room, not coming out. I didn't go to class for I think it's lasted 2 weeks. Didn't go to class. I just wanted to be alone. So when I start feeling like I don't want to do anything at all, like I don't even want to get up to eat, that's when I realize that I'm on edge and I need to act quick about it.
Anybody else on my men's side?
My on edge was racing thought, and then also just spacing out, losing focus. So I'd be in the middle of a task, and I would just zone out for a period of time, and then I would tell myself, all right, focus, get back on this. But
I think my on edge would be when I just like when I get overwhelmed, I just don't like I don't lash out. I don't, go OCD. I just don't. I just stop everything, and when I see it affecting work and my business and all that, that's when I'm like, all right, something's got to give. What do I need to do? Because I'm on that edge. Okay, that was a good one. If applicable, did you feel helpless during your time, and how long, and what did you do to get through it?
I think I felt helpless, I felt helpless growing up until I figured out not what the problem was, but what it was. So like growing up in elementary school, I think it really started when my grandfather died. So growing up from elementary school to high school and always being emotional and not knowing why I'm emotional, and then having people like say that I'm emotional, I'm like, I know, but I don't know why. So I think that was helpless because it's like, what is going on? So that was a good 10, 12 year span of feeling helpless. And I didn't figure out how to get out of it until I went to talk to someone to tell me, oh, this is what it is. This is your chemical imbalance in your mind. You're not just crazy for crying all the time. Like, this is why you're crying all the time. So the helpless moment ended when I figured out what was going on.
And you actually have somebody who agreed with you. So comment check. Samira said, yes, Brianna, the fear of letting anyone down. Also, culture has a big impact on dealing with anxiety or having to always push feelings under the rug because of being part of a culture that doesn't even think anxiety exists. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest problem is the opposite end of that is that instead of me being emotional, like anything that I feel, I just soak it up and put it away somewhere. Mm-hmm. And one of the main reasons that when I started to see a therapist was because I thought at some point everything that I was putting away was going to come out, and I didn't know how it would come out. So that me not being able to express how I feel about things is the helplessness that I feel. Is I can't process super complex emotion. I just shut down and talk about something else and move on to something else because it's easier to do that than to. Like, I've had family members that I'm super close to and couldn't cry because I don't know how to process that emotion. And I'm always the person who has to make everybody else feel better, so I don't have time to grieve or feel bad because I'm always trying to make everybody else upbeat so that they can, not go through what I'm going through. And so
do you think that that's something that a lot of males go through?
It could be, because you're supposed to be the strong person. You're supposed to be the person who people can lean on or feel like they can come to, but then you have to act as if everything is together for you. And for a lot of people, it's probably not together. So, yeah.
Do you feel like if you had that person, in your life that gave the opportunity for you to feel, do you think you would take advantage of it? So like giving you that space. Because I know you said a lot of people, they kind of want from you, right? You're making them feel good. But if you had somebody who was like, Dejan, how are you doing? How are you really processing this? And really gave you that energy back, do you think that you would be open to it? Or do you think you're at a point where you're just kind of learning how to...
Yeah, I feel like that's something that I have to deal with. That's not something that anybody else could be involved with. That's something that I have to... Because I feel like in that space, like you were talking about earlier, you have to give somebody a little bit and then, see how that feels and then give them more. Like, I don't trust anyone enough to give them all of that. That's just me. It has nothing to do with anybody else. That's just the type of person that I am, which I'm working on those things so that I don't continue to hold things inside. Like, I can feel and let people know how I'm feeling about things.
I mean, that's good to... I think that's, for all of us, that's good to even be able to pinpoint some of this stuff. Because I feel like there's so many people, watching, so many people in life that don't know how to pinpoint some of these emotions or lack of emotions or, things that we can do better to fix some of this stuff, right? So I think that's definitely big to be able to pinpoint that stuff that you're going through. So for the next question, how do you press, keep living, come out, or come through what you're going through?
So for me, what I live by is if I cannot fix something, don't stress about it. It'll either fix itself, or if it doesn't, then whatever consequences come with it, we'll deal with it when it gets there. And if I can fix something, to not stress or be anxious about it, because I can fix it. I just need to buckle down and get things done. The problem is that a lot of time, like, I run from the things that need to be done. So the anxiety that I deal with comes from me putting away those feelings that I have about things, and then subconsciously worrying about them. Not something I'm like thinking about constantly, but like at night, I'm laying there and I have to use a weighted blanket before I go to sleep, because if I don't put the weighted blanket on, then whatever thoughts are going crazy in my mind will continue, and then I put that weighted blanket on and it calms me down, and then I can go to sleep. So that's what it is.
Okay.
I think mine's a little similar. I started telling myself if I can't dictate the outcome, if I can't go the extra mile to fix my problem, well, not fix the problem, but to just notice it and be aware of it, then it's out of my control. Like, it's in God's hand at that point. Like, I can't bear the weight of something that I can't control. Like, for lack of better words, like, I can't do that to I can't keep doing that to myself. It's not fair to my mental health. It's not fair to my body in general. Like, I just have to let go. I have to just take it day by day, and I think that's helped me within the last few months. But, yeah.
Taking it day by day, I think, is really big. I feel like all of us, people, humans in general, we don't live in the moment, one, and then take things day by day.
Right.
So I know I stress about stuff
Yeah.
out there, future-wise.
Yeah. I think for me, what helped me come out of it is figuring out what triggers me and figuring out my coping mechanisms. There's some things that like slip me up and be like, whoa, like you just caught me off guard. But for the most part, I know when I'm having a low anxiety moment, I'm like, okay, I'll be fine. I'll get over this. I'll just walk out. Or if I'm having a high anxiety moment, I give myself, for me personally, I give myself 3 days tops to sit in the moment, to feel what I'm feeling. After that 3 days, I'm like, okay, you've got to do something. You've got to cope, and you got to move on. So I think for me, it was personally acknowledging my emotions, acknowledging why I just had a breakdown, letting it happen, and then moving on.
3 days tops. Listen, that can be chills. Like, but seriously, just to give yourself kind of that end date to push.
Yeah.
Because I think that goes to what DJ was talking about fighting that battle. And get that battle to end date.
I was about to say, with me, I had to develop patience. Mental health, mental illness, whatever you struggle with, it is not like a sprained ankle. All right, it takes some time. Whether it be some triggers that send you back or have a flashback, it takes time. And then you have to continue to encourage yourself in some way, shape, or form. Whether in that moment you might not be able to encourage yourself, like you said, write your thoughts down. That way, when that moment passes, you can look back and you can somewhat reflect on little thoughts you were thinking back then, and you might be able to see the difference. Like, truly, I know this isn't me, and then just know you're strong, because I came across a quote that said, "You never know how strong you are until that's the only thing that you can be." So it just strong people face these type of things. All right, mental health is nothing for weak-minded people. All right, strong people face it, and strong people see it through, and you will eventually. You just gotta hold on.
That was deep. I felt that. So, what words of encouragement do you have? So, thinking back to, it can be thinking back, or it can be in this moment. Thinking back to maybe your worst mental health, mental illness time. What was a word of encouragement for you, Or, like I said, now that I think we're pretty clear in mind right now, what is your words of encouragement for somebody going through?
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Listen, we know our terms on this side.
I think for me, the words of encouragement that I would have and that was given to me in my worst moment is that allow people to help you. There's always one person that knows what's going on, and not even if they know exactly what's going on, they know that something's different. So not let yourself get so caught up in your emotions that you completely just push out everyone that helps you. And then even, because I know for me, I kind of pushed everyone away, even within that people were still trying to help me. So know that you're not alone, and my life is like a list of songs. The one song that I would say is Chance the Rapper is Everybody Something. Everybody, somebody's everything, nobody's nothing. So there's going to be at least one person in your life that is going to be there to help you push through it. There's not going to be no one at all, ever.
I love that.
Chance the Rapper.
If you actually follow Brianna, she really does talk in.
That's my
She's
jam.
music.
Just
Like, if you follow her, you really will see Brianna is posting a morning something, and it's lyrics to something or a song that's just timely. Like, she really does speak in music.
Yeah. Speaking music.
She does.
Now people do like, well, there's a song that says.
Music is her language.
Yeah.
Music is her language. Naomi.
Mine's similar to Brianna's. Never feel like you're alone in your situation. I'm a big internalizer, so I felt like I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to let them know that I felt less than or weak in that moment. But you have to realize that there are people that are going through the same thing, and you can't compare your life or your struggles to somebody else. And I think that's what I struggled with most. So my words of encouragement would definitely be just talk to somebody, like whoever you think is a listening ear, like just talk to them, just vent to them. They can have like the best advice for you. Don't be afraid to just let go and say what you feel.
I like it. I think mine would be press. So press, get through, get towards that finish line, or even to that next stage. Because I forgot where I heard this, but somebody had said, if you feel like you're in hell, don't stop, keep going.
Yeah.
Like if you feel like you're in hell, that's not the place to stop. You want to keep going till you're in another place. But suppress, and don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. So add that as a hashtag, or put it in your notes. If you feel like you're in hell, keep going, don't stop.
Just so just being able to understand that if you're going through something, you got to think about what is it teaching you, because there's always something to be learned from an issue that you have. And you think of it like when you're a little kid and you were learning your timetables, like that was a daunting task to learn what 7 times 8 is. Like go
And
home and talk to your
quickly, too.
Yeah, like it's hard to do that, but then once you figure out a way to learn how to do your multiplication tables, however that is that you do in your head, then things become easier. Now when you talk about 7 times 8, like that's the easiest thing in the world. So knowing that whatever you're going through, it might be difficult right now, but try to figure out what it's teaching you. It's not the end of anything. You just have to work your way through it. And once you work your way through it, and like I said, I write stuff down, you can look back at it and see the type of growth that you've gone through, and it helps you in general. Like I was here, and now I'm way over here, and the next time that you go through something, you know that you're here, and you're looking forward to getting there, and you're trying to figure out how to solve that problem.
Right. I would say my encouragement would definitely be just continue to strive for forward progress. You don't have to run through it. You don't have to walk through it. You might have to crawl. You might have to roll. You might have to have somebody carry you through it, honestly.
Okay.
But
Ain't nothing like that.
yeah, just shoot. Just make it a point to make some type of progress. All right. And then lastly, celebrate the small victories when you're going through it, because there's going to be moments where you feel joy, like appreciate that moment and note it down, because that way you can know like it's not full depression, it's not full anxiety, it's 100% of the day, all right? And then focus on those moments, and then hopefully those moments lead to more extended periods throughout the day. So.
Absolutely. Comment check. Jerica said, I think this is one of her words of encouragement. God has equipped us with everything we need to pull ourselves together. And her other word of encouragement would be baby steps. If you can't see past today, then make it to the end of today. Then worry about tomorrow. My baby steps were getting out of bed, eating, brushing your teeth, etc. And I think this is to go to the God has equipped us with everything we need to pull ourselves together, Philippians 4 and 6, which is really big. But we have another question from the comment checks. Samira said, how do you or how should you deal with the lack of motivation that comes from being down, emotional, or even depressed? So the lack of motivation to go to work, school, etc.
I think for me, I plan in advance for an anxiety attack. So I have like a kit. I know it's crazy, but I have like food.
It's not crazy.
Nah,
I know, like I have food and I have like my vinyl player and then I have a blanket. So I prepare myself for that moment because, and just like I think you said earlier, you have notes, you put in notes in your phone so that you can look back on. Because if you know how to cope, you know what's going to help you. When that time comes, you can just grab what's right in front of you, which would be like your little kid. You can sit there, process what's going on, and then you always have to tell yourself that you're going to be okay. And I think that's my biggest thing, because even though it doesn't seem okay in the moment, I'm going to be okay no matter what. There's going to be an end. The end may be a week from now, a month from now, but it's going to be there. So if I just tell myself I'm not okay right now, but I will be okay, and I like repeating stuff over and over again, that's what helps me to at least open my window. And I'm like, okay, today I opened my window. Tomorrow I went out to eat. Okay, today I went out to eat. The next day I went to work. So it's just like little things that help in telling yourself that there is always going to be an end.
I fixed my bed. I know it sounds stupid, but I saw this motivational speech a couple of years ago where this Navy guy was talking about fixing your bed. So because when I get up in the morning, normally it's like a rush. Like if I gotta be at work at 12 o'clock, I'm up at like 11:15.
Okay.
Rushing through the house trying to get everything done I need to get
Hashtag retail life.
done. But if I know that, because I can tell, like as soon as I open my eyes, what kind of day I'm gonna have, to change that day, I'll get up out of the bed and I'll fix it, because that's an accomplishment. I did something. And my room is clean when you fix the bed. So at that point, I fixed my bed, I've accomplished something, and that gets the ball rolling. So now I can go to whatever the next task is, and I can accomplish that, and then they get bigger and bigger. And then instead of me focusing on whatever negative it was I was thinking about when I woke up, now I'm rolling with the positive things that I've accomplished during the day, and that helps me to get through times where I'm like depressed and completely unmotivated. Just get up and fix the bed, which I don't do very often, but it helps.
You
when I do it.
fixes his thing.
Fix my bed.
I love it. I think for me, it's a matter of, because I'm a little bit different than John. I don't wake up knowing like what kind of day it's going to be. I wake up and I'm cool or whatever, but it could be the slightest thing. If it throws me off, the slightest thing can throw me off.
Mm-hmm.
So if it happens at, if I woke up at 8 a.m. and I'm like, oh, it's going to be a good day, turn up. I got my morning brush playlist, and then something happens. But I tell you, that throws me off. So mine is a little bit more sporadic, but I think, and I tell some of the kids that I mentor, you're the boss of your day. So even if something throws you off, even if you start off wrong, there's another minute, another hour, another, shift or whatever that's coming, So if something happened at 12:01, just know by 1 o'clock, that's a new hour, which goes into, a new day.
Yeah.
And yesterday was yesterday. It's nothing we can do to fix yesterday, but we can decide to be better and move forward and stuff like that. So before we end, I want to do a exhale exercise. So first, I want us to breathe in really deep and exhale. Sometimes we need that to kind of slow our minds, slow, our days. And, another resource, and Dejan, you talked about being able to FaceTime, a therapist. For anybody out there, there is an app called 10% Happier. I know some of us on this panel have been in the 10% Happier app, but the 10% Happier app has different meditation kind of sessions. So there's stuff if you are, anxious, there's things that help you when, if you go through road rage and if you're trying to go to sleep, if you're trying to calm yourself, anything like that. 10% Happier is an app that can help slow yourself down. So going back to some of those war tools for this battle, the 10% Happier app. So all of us, yeah.
Real quick.
That one it?
I've noticed that a lot of people here have Apple Watches. There's a Breathe app on the Apple Watch. You can do that, which is very, very similar to 10% Happier. And if you take the time to the 2 minutes or 3 minutes to breathe, that can positively affect your day at any point. Whenever you're going through something, just stop, do the breathing thing for a minute or 2 minutes, and it can completely change the course of your day if it's going south.
Listen, and I'm gonna put her on blast. Naomi just whispered that she pressed dismiss. I do listen. I mean, I do.
Most of the time, I do.
Yeah. I feel like I do as well. Cause I remember one time at my job, it was just a lot going on. And then I got the buzz on my watch and it said breathe. I was like, I don't got time for this. Stuff blowing up. But if I would have taken that time to breathe and, if nothing else, calm my heart down, because I was palpitating. It was palpitating.
I'm talking about breathing.
It's like, I'm breathing. I'm living. I'm here. But and the thing is, you can do, it's like 1 minute, 5 minutes. You can do different increments. So you'd be surprised how long 60 seconds is when you in a high. Listen, but sometimes you need that long 60 seconds to breathe.
I feel like it does, but it's like at the right moment. I'm like, dang, I really should take a minute.
Right. Keep calm.
Yeah.
But I do want us to do an exercise. We all have balloons behind us where I want you to write down something that you don't want to deal with anymore or something that plagues you. So write it on the balloon. And we're gonna release it outside. You guys probably won't get to be able to see that, but just know we're releasing it, okay? And while we're writing, does anyone have any words of encouragement for fellow panelists or people at home? So we're gonna get our balloons while we do this. Just turn around. Grab a. Oh wait. There. Somebody just went.
I'm gonna write purple on purple.
Wait, we got an extra one. I mean, you can do, however many. At least hold one, because I like to start to hear it. Sorry. Ooh! For some of the people who don't know, this is a live panel, right? Courtney, we can make a joyful noise with the helium. It makes your singing sound amazing. Sometimes you just need to sing.
He's healing? Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Healing is very fun.
But I think it do something with your brain.
Ooh.
It kills
Yes,
brain
it
cells.
A little bit of
Kills
helium.
them? A little bit of helium?
I
I mean, that's fine. Listen, just shine
Get
light.
this marker up on there.
That's because it's purple.
No, this is black.
So what are we supposed to be doing again?
You said right now something we don't want to deal with, right?
Don't want to deal with anymore. So,
Student loans.
okay. I mean, that's the thing, though. That's the thing.
Don't mess with me.
Because now that she in my pockets.
No, Samira, your name is not on this balloon.
Ooh.
No, she's like, I bet you put my name on the balloon. No, it's not.
Oh my God.
It's there, girl.
It's really not. It's really not.
Yeah.
Don't say like that. It's wrong.
I didn't know.
Oh, keep talking. Sorry.
Mm.
That's okay. You question me like I was like, I need to know.
And one thing that definitely helped me too, going through the storm and whatnot, like I would go on YouTube and just watch comedies and whatnot, stand-ups, just funny stuff, and just get me laughing and whatnot. So.
Do you think like motivational things, comedy, positive people, positive words, do you think that has an impact on you while you're going through it?
Yeah, it does. But you gotta do what works for you. Cause like say motivational speakers say you're just so down, you're like, oh man, whatever, bump what they saying. But yet say somebody, a comedian can get through you in some way, shape, or form and make you laugh. Or maybe it's a song that you're listening to, like when Lil Wayne dropped, what is it? I think it was Carter 5, that was the last one he released. The song on the album called Let It Work Out, Let It All Work Out. I would put that in rotation heavy. And just let it all work out and just keep playing.
Okay, you better sing. You speaking Brianna's language.
Hey, she said Chance the Rapper. I don't know if y'all saw, but I was like, I had to control myself.
Oh, you was about to get booked.
I was about to, do something.
You was about to do what?
Do that Chance.
Hot shower.
So, what I also want us to write on these balloons, and I put it in the flyer, I want you to write hashtag free your mind. Okay? The LadyT is
Yeah, that's a great
okay?
mark, right? Yeah.
Okay? You should.
I'm gonna wait.
I'm inhaling all of it though.
Patience.
Free,
She got that king
Free?
size sharp.
Yeah.
free. Just double E's. Free your mind.
Free your mind.
Free your mind. Free your.
Speaking of free your mind,
Yes.
you
So.
are in control of your own reality. So when you go through stuff, it's how you react to things. So you don't have to react in a negative way or think in a negative way. As many positive thoughts as you can think during the day are things that will make you feel better. Listening to music, writing things down, breathing. Just make sure you keep doing those things.
I agree. I think if you don't get anything else from this LadyT, let's talk about it today. I just want you to know that there's hope. There is a tomorrow, there is a new day, and there is somebody else who sees hope in you. So, thank everybody for tuning in. This is LadyT. Let's talk about it.